What's up everybody, Whack4863 here, and today we're going to look at thralls. Now I know a lot of people want to know what the best thrall is in the game going forward, and what I'm going to tell you is that I think that is going to be a very, very hard thing to say. I think that with the leveling system that we have in place, the variables, the randomness of the perks that they're going to get, you're going to have a hard time saying that X Thrall is absolutely the best. But let me show you what we're going to get into, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time if my keyboard is super duper loud, but I'm doing this live so that I can react to the results as we go through them. So what I have is named fighters from every faction that I have spawned in, and they are all fresh spawns. None of them have been leveled up. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go through and level all of these thralls up in this video, and we're going to see how they come out. Now, for those of you that don't want to watch that long of a video, I am going to make a prediction based on hit points directly out of the box that Lissa Snow Hunter is going to be one of the top tier ones. So, Lissa Snow Hunter has 8746 hit points directly out of the box. Now, in everything that I've looked at, every thrall that I have spawned in, this is the highest hit point. Now, if you're not familiar with this NPC, this is a namesake for Snow Hunter. He is a mod maker, and he is responsible for how the wine cellar and the war maker dungeon look. He was instrumental in helping design those, so I wouldn't be surprised that they gave him or is his namesake in game the highest hit points. So that is my guess as far as which thrall is going to win, and again, that is based solely on hit points directly out of the box. And again, that is based solely on hit points directly out of the box. Now, if you're not familiar with where to get this particular thrall, it's going to be up at the Mounds of the Dead. It is a wandering spawn most of the time. There's a handful of places where it spawns, so you just need to spend time killing thralls up in the Mounds of the Dead until you find this NPC. Real quick here, guys, before we start leveling up thralls, what I want you to know is that these points are all important for you to pay attention to. I'm not going to rattle these off in every thrall that we level up. I will talk about the additional points and armor agility and their total hit points, but you'll want to pay attention to these points as well to see how well your thrall levels up. So let's start off with the exiles, and we have a few different exiles here. So what we're going to do is a couple of fighters and an archer for the exiles, and I chose these because they have different hit points or they come from different areas of the map. So you can see Deirdre Deathbringer starts with 2,442. So let's go ahead and we will tell her to follow, and we're going to level her up. Now that she is fully leveled, you can see her hit points doubled or more than doubled there, and we will look at her stats. So she got +5 in strength, +5 in agility, -3 in accuracy, and +3 in survival. Now, what I want to point out here, guys, is if you look at the agility armor bonus, she actually has 300 in the agility armor bonus, which brings her total armor to 305. So you can imagine how high her armor can be once we put her in a full set of Silent Legion. Now let's move on to Eric the Slayer. He has 2,442 hit points as well. Let's go ahead and tell him to follow, and we will level him up and see where his stats end up. Now, as you can see, he got a ton of hit points, guys. So let's go through the stats. He has +3 in strength. He has +18 in vitality and +3 in accuracy, with a total agility armor bonus of 290. Now, this is a Thrall that spawns on the Noob River. Okay, and that's the point that I want to make to you guys, is that going out and capturing X Thrall isn't necessarily going to matter once it's leveled up. Once it's leveled up, a Thrall from Noob River can be as powerful as a Thrall from anywhere else. But let's move on. Let's see what else we can get out of this. So here we have an archer, Haggar Hawkeye, with 2,442 hit points as well. He is from the Exile group, and he is already following us. So let's level him up and see where he ends up. Now, as you can see, he has -5 in strength, which is a big hit to his strength pool, +3 in agility, and survival is +11. His agility armor bonus is only 110. However, I'd be interested to know how that survival being +11 will play out against negative status effects. And you can see his hit points did not go up all that much. So, is this Thrall a great Thrall? I don't know. That's for you to decide. But let's move on to the next one. So the Dafari Cannibal Brute is totally broken, guys. It has 0% growth chance in all the categories with 1,020. Now, I was able to level it up to 10 earlier, which is interesting, but that is through an admin spawn. So that is an issue. And that's something that Funcom is going to need to fix. But in the meantime, you definitely don't want to be going after the Cannibal Brute. Moving on to Scorched Eyegouser. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it or not. But 1,020 hit points. Let's level him up and see what he ends up with. Now, it looks like he may have got quite a bit of hit points. And he did 6650. And he has +5 in strength, +7 in agility, and +3 in survival. His total agility armor bonus is 216. So here we have Sarnia Thorn. She is from the Black Hand NPC group, and we will go ahead and get her leveled up and see how she turns out. So as you can see, she ended up with +3 in agility and +18 in vitality for a total vitality of 8,697. That's quite high vitality as well. And her agility armor bonus is 230. Moving on here, guys, to Conchata of Kania. You can see what she starts out with there. And let's get her leveled up and see where she ends up after that. So as you can see, a decent amount in vitality again, +10, and accuracy +11. Now, she is an archer, so accuracy really makes sense for her, and her agility armor bonus is 240. One other thing that I want to point out is this strength. The last two Thralls have started at 1 in strength and ended up at different various locations or numbers with their strength bonus. So that's going to be important for what they're able to kill. The agility is important for increased armor, obviously vitality for hit points, accuracy, you know what accuracy does, and survival is going to give them better defense against debuffs. Moving on here to Croad the Crusher. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but let's get him leveled up and see where he ends up. He is also part of the Black Hand faction. Now, he actually ended up with some pretty serious debuffs, even though he ended up with a high amount of vitality. He got -3 in strength and -3 in agility. Strength is going to cause him to not be able to deal as much damage as maybe another Thrall does, and agility is going to take his armor points down. So let's just look at his armor in total, and we can do that by going here. And his armor in total is 185. What he's wearing is going to give him 5. So 180 armor before he puts any armor on. Moving on here, guys, to Haggar Waverunner. Here's what he's got just starting out, and let's see where he ends up once we level him. Now that he's fully leveled, you can see he got +8 in strength and -3 in agility and +10 in accuracy. So this is a fighter that has high accuracy points, and the agility, it's okay. The hit points, they're okay as well, but there's nothing that says that you can't put a bow in this Thrall's hand. Even though it's a fighter, the high accuracy would help with a bow. High accuracy also helps with finding weak points in the armor, so it would deal more damage in that sense. Now here we have Lacera. Now you can see we're starting to make our way up here in the points that they have just right off the bat. So this one starts out with 20 strength, 15 agility, and 10 vitality. Now let's see, once we get it leveled up, where we end up. And as you can see, it went all 20 straight into vitality. There's some debuffs that do an offset. So we have a buff for agility and a debuff for agility, so it ends up just being all vitality bonuses. Now you can see that the strength and agility went up, as well as accuracy and survival, and it has a total agility armor bonus of 340, which is pretty good in my opinion. Let's look at the total armor that it ends up with. 345 before you put any armor on. Here we have May the Blade. Now you can see the strength, the agility, and vitality are the same as the previous Thrall. Let's see what happens once we get it leveled up. And you can see it went +8 in strength, +3 in agility, +5 in accuracy, and -5 in survival. Total hit points of 6465. And 370 in armor, agility armor bonus. So that's pretty decent. So this is the Claw of Jebel Sog. You can see it starts out with 1680 hit points. I think this is pretty low for the area of the map that you find these in, but that's just my personal opinion. You can see it starts with 15 agility and 30 accuracy. 30 accuracy is quite high. So let's see what happens once we get it leveled up here. So +9 in strength, +4 in agility, +1 in vitality, and +1 in accuracy. Now you can see that it has 5,712 total hit points, and it did end up with a debuff to survival, 390 in agility armor bonus. Moving on here to Cole's True Strike, you can see the attribute points that it already has, the same as the last one because they come from the same area of the map. And let's get him leveled up and see how he fares. So he ends up with +3 in strength, +3 in agility, +10 in vitality, total hit points of 6518, and 380 in agility armor bonus. Now that we're moving to thralls that you would find in more difficult areas, I think it's important to be a little bit more critical as we look at these thralls and how they fare, because this is where you're going to find higher strength and higher hit points at a base level. And so my expectation would be that these thralls would make better thralls than the ones that we've already covered. So let's see how they level up. So he got +6 in agility, +13 in vitality, and +3 in survival. You can see his hit points are only 7,799, and his agility armor bonus is 328. But if we look at some of the other things there, like strength and survival, I think those are much higher points than what we've seen so far. Now, this is Dina Master Huntress, and if you're familiar with Dina Master Huntress, you can find her all the time. She's a guaranteed spawn. Sometimes she spawns 2 to 3 to 4 times. She has 2856 in health, which is pretty low to start out, but let's see where she ends up. It's also something to note that she actually has 40 agility armor points already, just fresh out of the box without being leveled up. So now that she's leveled up all the way, she about doubled her hit points there. She ended up with only 240 agility armor bonus points, which is, in my opinion, a little bit low, especially since she ended up with the +8 in agility. So maybe this one could end up good depending on the roll of the dice. And that's the thing about this leveling system, is you may have one Dina Master Huntress that turns out to be absolutely awful, and you may have another one that is ungodly powerful. That's why I say it's going to be really hard to pick a thrall that is the best. Now, if you guys watch a lot of my videos, you know that I pretty much always stand behind the Sumerian Berserker. He starts out, or she starts out, with 15 in strength and 30 in vitality. No agility armor bonus, nothing like that. So it'd be interesting to see if I stop backing the Berserker and start backing something else. But let's see where this one ends up. So +2 in strength, +5 in agility, +7 in vitality, +2 in accuracy, and +2 in survival. The agility armor bonus is actually really low with only 168. There are some better thralls. We've seen some better thralls already. Even though he's got 8,200 hit points, I think some of the ones that we've already leveled up are better than this one already. Now, just for fun, I'm giving you a Purge Thrall, and Marcos, the Bane of Beasts, is a Purge Thrall from the Sumerian tribe, and it looks like he comes out of the box the same as the Sumerian Berserker did. So let's get him leveled up and see what happens. And he ended up with a -5 in strength, a +3 in agility, +6 in vitality, and +8 in survival. Agility armor bonus of 152. Not real good results on either one of these thralls. I expected them to be really good, and I'm finding that I'm wrong about that. The good thralls that we've seen in this video so far really have come from other areas, and that is not what I expected. Let's continue on. Alright guys, so here we've made it to the Volcano Thralls. This is Eerie the Ravager. You can see he comes out of the box with 6,100 hit points. Let's see what happens when we get him leveled all the way up. And here we go. -6 in strength, +2, +2, +2, and +15 in survival, which means that he should really be able to take a beating of negative status effects and be able to shrug those off. Now, his agility armor bonus is 180, and his total hit points went to 7,800. Let's move on and see what else we have. So here we are with Dacius the Sharp, or Dacius the Sharp. I don't know how to pronounce it for sure, but here he is, 6138 in hit points, and we'll level him up real quick and see what we get. Now, the reason why I'm doing a few more volcano thralls is because this is where everybody was going, either this or the Relic Hunter treasure seekers. So I wanted to do a couple more of the volcano thralls just to see if we could get better results. So with this one we got +3 in strength, +6 in agility, +6 in vitality, +13 in accuracy, and +3 in survival. Agility armor bonus of 250 and a total hit points of 9,200. Team of the Slithering is a archer from the volcano. He comes out of the box pretty much the same as the last two thralls. Let's see what happens when we level him up. And wow, there's some serious debuffs there, but he did end up with +8 in strength, -5 in vitality, +8 in accuracy, and -2 in survival. You can see his hit points barely moved up at all. And this is a roll of the dice. I could probably spawn in another team of the Slithering, and he could have 9,000 hit points and a ton of strength and agility and all those different things. So keep that in mind, guys, that just because you do it once doesn't mean that you've seen everything that thrall could potentially be. So here we have our first Relic Hunter named thrall. So this is Lissa the Longbow, and she comes from Sephimaru. You can see she has 3,894 hit points. Let's get her leveled up and see where she ends up. So she got +3 in strength, +5 in agility, +8 in vitality, and -5 in accuracy. Of course, she is a archer, so I really would prefer she didn't have -5 in accuracy, but that's where she ended up. Now, her agility armor bonus is 390, and her total hit points is 5,438. All in all, I think this is a pretty well-rounded thrall. Now here we have the Relic Hunter Treasure Seeker. This was the go-to before this patch. Comes out of the box with 5841, and let's see what happens once it's leveled. So it came out and got -5 in strength, -5 in vitality, +8 in accuracy, and +11 in survival, 296 armor agility bonus points, and 7,000 hit points. Like I said before, and I just want to keep reiterating this, guys, is that you could go through 5 or 10 of these before you find a killer thrall, before you find one that is just gonna wipe everything off the map. Now, by no means do I feel like these are bad numbers, but if your expectations were really, really high, this is probably about what you're going to see on a regular basis, and then you may get that one-off where they're just super powerful. Now, I don't know if the captain has made it back in the game. I haven't had a chance to go and check. However, there are probably some of you that may still have a captain lying around in a box. So I figured I would throw it in, and we'll just see where it ends up once it's leveled. So you can see it actually only ended up with a total of 11 strength. It got +3 in agility and +11 in vitality. Total armor or agility armor points at 360. You can see there were some buffs and debuffs throughout what he got. But this is not necessarily a knockout thrall either. So now we're going to move into something a little bit different for a moment here. So as you can see, we have a Sumerian Bearer level 1, and we're going to level it up just to see what happens if we're not dealing with just named things. So you can see its hit points went way up, skyrocketed, has +8 in strength and +3 in accuracy. Now, 3,000 hit points, that's not a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but big change from going from a level 1 to a level 4, right? So there are other viable options in the exiled lands, and the agility armor bonus, not real good, but I just want to show you guys what other options are out there. So if we move on to a Sumerian Bearer level 2, you can see 1500 in their hit points. And let's go ahead and level him up, and we'll see where he ends up. Now, obviously, wow, guys, look at that. Look at the amount of health this guy has. So 26 strength, 16 agility, 44 plus 18 in vitality, accuracy at 25, survival at 35 plus 3. Agility armor bonus points, they're not really there. But the amount of health that this guy has is absolutely insane. 17,253 on a Sumerian Bearer level 2. So Sumerian Bearer level 3. Now I want you to take note of the hit points here. 3,494. Keep that number in your mind. But let's see what happens when we level her up. And she got a ton of hit points as well there, guys. And, wow, 16,195. That is huge. We're looking at plus 3 in strength, plus 7 in agility, plus 5 in vitality, and 180 in agility armor bonus. Now, this is an amazing Thrall, in my opinion. This is one of those cases. In fact, the last two have been one of those cases where you take something that you are not expecting to be great and it turns into greatness. Now, hopefully you guys remember the hit points that I told you to keep in your mind. That was 3,494 for those of you that forgot. If you look at our named bearers, they all come with 2,368. That's insanely low. But we do have a 100% chance on this one for an agility bonus. So let's go ahead and see what happens when we level him up. And you can see that the agility actually got a debuff of -3. It does have plus 5 in strength, plus 3 in vitality, and plus 3 in survival. However, look at the hit points, 4,672. Now, I do believe that the initial hit points are not where they're supposed to be. I think Funcom needs to fix that. There's no way a Sumerian Bearer 3 should have more hit points than a level 4 or named bearer. Now, I am not going to go through all of these bearers that I have here and level them up because I just don't feel like that is a good good way for you guys to spend your time. So, what are you doing here, buddy? Get back in line. Let me move him back in line. So, what the heck is going on? All right. Move back in line. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to move over here to Dalencia. Now, if you remember from the beginning of the video, and I know that you guys have been here for a long time, I appreciate you hanging out with me. Let's get Dalencia leveled up and let's see what happens. Now, she comes out of the box with 8,746, 15 in strength, and 30 in vitality. Let's get her leveled up and see where she ends up. Now, obviously, she's not hunched over, which means she didn't get a whole ton of points in vitality over what she had. However, 14,272 is still a lot of hit points, guys. Strength plus 3, a total of 47 there. Agility, 20 plus 3 is 23. And vitality, there's some math for you guys to figure out, but plus 18 in that. Agility armor bonus of 16. This is a darn good Thrall, and you can see it got hollowed. This one right here, when you get hollowed, just jacks up the hit points. It's absolutely awesome. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope it's answered some questions for you. It's definitely answered some and created some others in my mind. If it's created questions for you, leave those in the comments below. The next thing that has to happen with this testing, guys, is these Thralls need to go out and fight. They've got to interact with the world and see how do they do. How do they handle killing different things or whatnot. Now, in PvE, I think most of these thralls, you are going to be pretty well off just taking a level 20 with you to kill just about anything. Let's go back over here real quick because I want to remind you this guy is from the Noob River and he has 7,906 hit points. His strength is pretty high. His vitality obviously is high. 290 in armor agility bonus. And I mean, if we compare these two, they're almost uncomparable, but thinking of where they come from, one comes from Noob River, one comes from the Mounds of the Dead. It's kind of wild to think about naming a thrall that is going to be the absolute best. The best thrall, in my opinion, is going to be the one that you find that levels up the way that you want it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I'll catch you next time. Peace.